Yo, what's good, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another reaction video. We got 10 best win-win trades in NFL history. Let's check this out.
Trades can make or break an NFL
obviously, I'm expecting Stephon Diggs and Justin Jefferson trade to be in here. The goddamn Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford trade was so much even, bro. You know what I'm saying? The only you know what I'm saying, the only difference was that the Rams got a Super Bowl out of it, but Jared Goff has been very good for the Lions so far. Took them to the NFC Championship game last year.
The Chargers were sitting at 8 years without a winning season, and after a 4-12 record in the year prior, they held the #1 pick. Eli Manning was the unanimous top prospect in the draft.
He got drafted.
Eli and his father
he didn't want to go to the Chargers.
Clear that he would refuse to play in San Diego.
That's crazy.
But the Chargers organization didn't care and drafted
Bro, imagine how much aura you have to have.
Just 3 picks later, the New York Giants drafted Philip Rivers 4th overall. And with Eli's stance on playing in San Diego not changing, the Chargers got to work. And less than an hour later, the blockbuster trade happened. Eli Manning for Philip Rivers, a 3rd-round pick, and a 2005 1st and 5th-round pick. Little did the two teams know it would be the best trade in either franchise's history. Philip Rivers went on to become the greatest Chargers quarterback of all time.
I don't think Rivers won a Super Bowl, though.
During his 16-year career in Southern California, he led the Chargers to the playoffs 6 times, broke over 30 franchise records, and holds every major franchise passing record. Not to mention that from the time he became a starter in 2006,
will Justin Herbert break any of his records?
He made 252 straight starts, including the 2007 AFC Championship game that he played in with a torn ACL. Meanwhile,
what the fuck? Nigga, you can play on a torn ACL? Okay, this should be no excuse for anybody tearing an ACL now, bro. You got this nigga playing on a torn ACL in a playoff game?
Starts, including the 2007 AFC Championship.
Did I hear that right?
He played in with a torn ACL.
Nah, bro.
Over in New York, Eli Manning was doing the same thing. He was also one of the greatest Ironmen in NFL history, starting in 210.
That shit is crazy.
And he broke every major Giants passing record. But the big difference between the careers of Rivers and Manning is that Eli would capture 2 Super Bowl victories in New York. Both victories came against the Patriots, and one
is crazy.
Their seemingly unbeatable
Tom Brady's dad.
2017.
What is Tom Brady's favorite wine? I can't beat the Giants!
And while the 04 draft featured a trade...
Yo, I just got that shit. What the fuck?
I can't beat...
But that shit was low-key cringy. I'm not even gonna lie, Eli, bro. Never do that shit again, gang.
And while the 04 draft featured a trade between 2 all-time great quarterbacks, the 2001 draft was defined by a trade with 2 of the most electrifying players the
Michael
NFL
Vick and LT.
Because when Michael Vick was coming out of Virginia Tech, he had all the makings of a generational talent. So the Falcons were willing to give up a haul to move up 4 spots and get him. They ended up trading their 1st and 3rd round picks, as well as a 2nd rounder in the 02 draft, and Tim Dwight, their kick returner, to the Chargers for the #1 pick. Using the 1st rounder they got from the Falcons, the Chargers drafted LaDainian Tomlinson.
That is crazy,
one
bro.
Of the most legendary running back careers.
I mean, shit, they could do no wrong with that trade, bro.
Year, he scored 10 touchdowns
LT for Mike Vick.
Started a streak of 1,200+ rushing yard seasons that went on for 7 years straight. And
he won an MVP too.
He put together one of the greatest running back seasons of all time. LT set the NFL record for total touchdowns in a season with 31, and went on to win league MVP. Tomlinson was the cornerstone of the Chargers offense for nearly a decade.
I don't even think that's gonna be able to happen again, like a running back winning MVP. Like, honestly, bro, I think it's a quarterback award now, because even if, like, say if CMC somehow does that, bro, I just feel like it's never gonna go to a running back anymore, bro, because it's more of a passing league now. I just wish they would have a MVP award for non-QBs. You know what I'm saying?
Without a doubt, one of the greatest backs.
Obviously, NFL is not going to think like that.
It's hard to believe the Falcons would have also got a player of that caliber. They did. Michael Vick redefined what it meant to be an NFL quarterback, and his dual-threat play style was something the league had never seen before. During his first season as a starter, Vick revived the Falcons fan base. He threw for nearly 3,000 yards and rushed for 777. But most impressively, he led Atlanta back to the playoffs for the first time in 4 years. He would go on to set the single-season record for quarterback quarterback rushing yards.
The hell was that?
Time in 4 years. He would go on to set the single season.
Did they have a backup QB in the game and pitched it back to him?
With 1,039. But it was the impact he made on the NFL in such a short time that was truly amazing. Every kid wanted to play the game like Mike. And you can see the effects of that in the league today. Almost all the best QBs in
Lamar
the NFL
Jackson
are dual-threat guys. And that's largely thanks to Michael Vick. But quarterback isn't the only position that has evolved, because it feels like we're in a golden age of NFL receivers.
Yeah.
And in 2020, we saw two of the game's best.
Diggs and Jettis
were coming off a season in which their young quarterback, Josh Allen, took a huge step forward.
I gotta react to Stephon Diggs 2023 highlights too.
Help in the pass catching department, and there couldn't have been a better match than the Vikings and their newly disgruntled receiver, Stephon Diggs. After 5 seasons as the star wideout for the Vikes, Diggs was tired of playing second fiddle to Adam Thielen. So Minnesota traded him and a 7th-round pick to Buffalo. In return, the Vikes received a 2020 1st, 5th, and 6th-round pick and a 2021 4th-rounder. But it was what Minnesota did with that 1st-round pick that truly made this a win-win, because they selected Justin Jefferson 22nd.
We all remember what happened before that.
Diggs quickly became
Eagles
Josh
took Jalen Reagor
option, and the duo completely transformed the Bills' offense into one of the most explosive in the NFL.
Like, you can honestly say, like, without either one of them, like, Josh Allen wouldn't be where he was, you know what I'm saying, without Stephon Diggs, and Stephon Diggs wouldn't be where he was without Josh Allen.
Buffalo, the Bills reached the AFC Championship game for the first time since the 90s.
So they got each other to thank for good careers so far.
4 years there. Meanwhile, Justin Jefferson, well, he set the league on fire.
Facts.
In his first season, he set the NFL rookie record for receiving yards with 1,400, and he's continually...
He might break all of Randy Moss's records for Minnesota.
To injury, Jefferson still has the most receiving yards ever through a player's first 4 seasons with 5,899, and is well on his way to...
Honestly, he could have had over 6,000, bro, if he didn't get hurt.
All-time great. But just a year after Jefferson started building his legacy in Minnesota, there was another trade only a few hours away.
Yo, nah, bro. Close the fucking schools.
There was another...
Bro, fucking relax, nigga.
Trade only
nigga about to break the damn table.
That could be described as a stroke of genius.
Jared Goff and Matthew Stafford.
Win now philosophy when building their roster. And the position head coach Sean McVay felt the team needed to upgrade most was quarterback. So they made a deal with the Lions, sending Jared Goff, a 2021 3rd-round pick.
Bro, it's crazy how even this trade was.
To Detroit for Matthew Stafford. The trade paid off immediately for LA. In Stafford's first season with the Rams, he led the team to a Super Bowl championship. Stafford fit into McVay's scheme perfectly, and his veteran leadership was exactly what the Rams needed to get over the hump. And Detroit, well, they completely rebuilt their offense with the picks they acquired, bringing in players like Jameson Williams, Jahmyr Gibbs, and Sam Laporta, in addition to Goff. Now, for the first time in decades, the Lions look like solidified Super Bowl contenders.
Facts.
And in 2023, they returned to the conference championship game for the first time since 1991. Not to mention, Jared Goff has played at a really high level for the Lions, beating all the speculation that the Rams had sent him to Detroit for his career to die. But this wasn't the only time.
They did do Jared Goff dirty, though.
Because in 2016, the Titans were undergoing a major rebuild and had the #1 pick in the draft. But having selected Marcus Mariota 2nd overall the year prior, they felt they could get a haul for the pick from a QB-needy team. So when the Rams came calling, hoping to move up from pick 15...
Wait, so is this when they drafted... I was about to say Sam Bradford. Jared Goff, my bad.
All ears. LA sent Tennessee 6 picks, all in the first 3 rounds of the 2016 and 17 drafts, for the rights to the 1st overall pick, as well as a 4th and 6th rounder. The Rams went on to select Jared Goff, who was far and away the top.
Bro, I don't know why I was about to say Sam Bradford, bro.
Picks, they added some key members to their roster. The first being offensive tackle Jack Conklin.
Is he on the Browns now?
All-Pro in his rookie season. But the Titans' best addition
Derrick
was Henry,
Henry,
whom they took using the Rams'
King
first
Henry.
Pick of the 2nd round. And we all know the impact he made. King Henry went on to become the engine of the Titans' offense. During his time in Tennessee, he led the league in rushing on multiple occasions, including a 2,027-yard season in 2020, becoming one of only 8 backs in history to break 2,000 rushing yards. His combination of size and speed is unheard of at the
his acceleration is fucking disgusting, bro.
One of the Titans'
there's no way, there's no reason why he should be moving that fast, that big.
A pretty wicked domino effect. Obviously, if the the Rams don't have Goff, there is never a trade with the Lions for Stafford, which led to a Super Bowl. But beyond that, while Goff was with the Rams, he was a stud in his own right. After struggling in his first year as a starter, he had a huge breakout in year 2 and led the Rams to an 11-5 record. Then, only a year later, he led them to a Super Bowl appearance.
And one of the most boring Super Bowls ever, honestly.
Set up his move to Detroit. But rarely do we see a trade between two already established NFL stars. Like in 2004, when Clinton Portis was coming off back-to-back 1,500-plus rushing yard seasons to start his career in Denver, and Champ Bailey was finishing.
Also, this is where the Champ Bailey trade came from.
4 straight Pro Bowls in Washington.
One of the best DBs of all time,
so
bro.
Much success for their current teams, it was a huge surprise when it was announced that they would be swapping them. But the Redskins approached Denver with an offer that they felt like they just couldn't turn down. Champ and a second-round pick for Portis. Once Champ joined the Broncos, he became one of the best corners in NFL history. He was named first-team All-Pro in each of his first 3 seasons in Denver. And by the time he finished his career,
I know about prime Champ Bailey
with 52 career interceptions. Just insane. And Portis continued his elite.
Is he in the Hall of Fame yet, bro? Oh, let me see this shit.
Logged 4,000+ rushing yard seasons. Portis finished
I don't even think he in the Hall of Fame.
To only John Riggins for every major Washington rushing record. But a trade between 2 all-time greats is one thing. In 2017, the Chiefs and the Bills made a deal that could one day be considered the most important in NFL history. The Chiefs were coming off years of playoff disappointment when the 2017 draft rolled around. They had Alex Smith at quarterback, who was playing well, but KC was desperate for a signal caller that could get them over.
How about to say, bro?
They decided to make a high-risk move and trade 2 first-round picks and a third-rounder to the Buffalo Bills to move up and select some quarterback from Texas Tech 10th overall. Well, it turns out that quarterback
Mahomes and Josh Allen,
pretty good. In Patrick Mahomes' first 7 seasons in the NFL, he's already a 2-time MVP and 3-time Super Bowl champ.
Shit is diabolical, bro.
And he's already had
why the fuck this nigga gotta be so good? Damn.
The best move in Chiefs history. And while the Bills did
worrisome, bro.
Mahomes, who has been the reason for their demise.
Like I thought we were over this shit when Tom Brady, you know what I'm saying, retired. Now we got to deal with Tom Brady 2.0 in this shit.
KC allowed them to add 3 cornerstone players. They drafted corner Tre'Davious White, linebacker Tremaine Edmonds, and tackle Deion Dawkins with the picks they acquired. All 3 players have been Pro Bowls.
I thought they drafted
major contributors
Josh Allen in the same draft.
It's crazy to see how the Chiefs and Bills rivalry has developed since that trade, especially since both teams were built by helping each other out. But that wasn't the first time the Chiefs were part of a mutually beneficial trade. In 2008, they ran into contract disputes with their extremely talented defensive end, Jared Allen. He was coming off a first-team All-Pro season and felt that Kansas City wasn't trying to compensate him fairly, so he forced his way out. The Vikings were more than happy to give up a first-round pick and 2 third-rounders for a player of Allen's caliber, and the Chiefs made the most of the picks they received. They drafted Brandon Albert, who developed into a Pro Bowl-level tackle, and with one of the third-round picks, they landed running back Jamal Charles. One of the greatest backs in Chiefs history.
This nigga was so fucking fast.
No other. And he holds the NFL record for yards per carry with 5.4. He's also the Chiefs' all-time leading rusher with 7,260 yards. And Jared Allen continued his dominance with the Vikings. They gave him the money he wanted for his new contract, and he rewarded them with back-to-back first-team All-Pro seasons to start his Vikings tenure. But in 2011, he was at the peak of his powers and recorded 22 sacks, just a sack off the NFL record. He was a fan favorite during his entire career with the Vikes and will always be a legend in Minnesota. But not every trade is that straightforward. For example, when Cleveland traded for Brock Osweiler, it left many Browns fans scratching their heads. After putting together some decent starts in Denver, the Texans decided to give Osweiler a 4-year, $72 million contract, a contract they would come to regret after just 1 season. So going into the 2017 offseason, the Texans wanted nothing more than to offload that cap hit. That's where the Browns came in. They had plenty of cap space, so Houston essentially paid them to take Osweiler's contract.
No way.
They traded Osweiler, a 2nd and 6th round pick, to Cleveland for a 4th round pick. The Browns then turned that 2018 2nd rounder into Nick Chubb.
Oh shit.
Nick Chubb.
Chubb was immediately one of the premier running backs in the NFL upon entering the league, and a major reason the Browns were able to turn their franchise around. In his 6 seasons in the league, Chubb had 4 1,000+ rushing yard seasons and 4 Pro Bowl nominations. And the Texans, well, they got the rare luxury way of getting out of a terrible contract. And by moving Osweiler, it gave them a need at quarterback, which led them to drafting Deshaun Watson, who,
oh,
despite his other endeavors, was an elite QB.
That's crazy because now he's the part of Cleveland, so this shit just came full circle.
But our final win-win trade involves a star player,
Brandon Cooks,
from Bayou to Boston, because prior to the 2017 season, Tom Brady was pushing 40, and New England was in full win-now mode. So the Pats decided to add a new playmaker in the form of deep threat receiver Brandon Cooks from the Saints. They gave up their first and third round picks for Cooks and a fourth rounder. And during his 1 year in New England, Cooks quickly became one of Brady's favorite targets. He finished the season with 1,082 receiving yards and 7 touchdowns.
Brandon Cooks is so underrated, bro.
Brady won MVP that year. The Pats also went 13-3 and made the Super Bowl, which Cooks got knocked out of with a concussion.
I remember that.
Maybe if Cooks doesn't leave the game, the Pats end up beating the Eagles. Meanwhile, the Saints used the first rounder they got from the Patriots to select tackle Ryan Ramczyk, who was an instant impact player for them. After drafting Ramczyk, the Saints built
doesn't he have trouble staying healthy?
And made the playoffs for 4 years straight. Since being in NOLA, Ramczyk developed into an all-pro tackle and has been a cornerstone of the Saints O-line. Thanks for watching. For more of the best NFL content on YouTube, stick with Blitz. Be sure to subscribe.
I want to know what you guys think down in the comments below. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you're new. Turn on post notifications, get notified whenever I drop another banger video. We're on the road to 400 subs, and we get it for more banger NFL reaction like this. Without further ado, I'm out. Gang!